Is this the downfall of Meta and social media as we know it? Meta Platforms, the company formerly known as Facebook, is cutting its workforce by 13%, equating to a loss of 11,000 jobs. CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who announced the job cuts last week, placed the blame on a combination of slowing user growth thanks to competition and declining ad revenue in the face of a global economic downturn. Is this the downfall of Meta and social media as we know it? Shortly before the start of the global COVID-19 pandemic, the company was riding a wave of success that had seen it consistently add at least 100 million active users every year. Over the course of 2020 alone, as the world settled into lockdown and online activity of all kinds surged, it would add another 300 million. This is the point at which Zuckerberg took a gamble that has yet to pay off and that many blame for the problems he's facing now. He decided that this huge growth in the amount of time we spent online would never slow down, instead becoming a catalyst for further growth that would continue throughout the new decade. As it turned out, this wasn't exactly the way it would play out for Facebook, at least. In the last 12 months, growth slowed significantly, with the social network adding a little under 50 million active users. For a smaller company, this would still be seen as phenomenal growth. But for a man who told Time magazine back in 2014 that his goal was to connect every human on the planet, it's a worrying and significant downturn. Evidently, it's also worrying for his shareholders and investors. The company is currently said to be valued at its lowest level since 2017, reportedly having lost close to $700 billion in value. That's around 67% of the $1 trillion it was said to be worth at its peak in 2021. So is this dramatic downturn in fortune due to changing macroeconomics, bad bets by its leadership, the emergence of more youthful challengers such as TikTok, some combination of all of these, or something else entirely? Let's take a look at how all of these factors are affecting a company that famously started in a college dorm, went on to change the face of the internet, and is now partway through an even more ambitious transformation aimed at changing the way we live our lives entirely. How have we got here? For all of its explosive success, Facebook, and now Meta, has certainly created its fair share of controversies over its almost 20 years of existence. It wasn't, by any means, the first social network to exist. Friends Reunited, MySpace, LinkedIn, and i5 all predated it. But it outgrew all of those by positioning itself as a mainstream communication offering as ubiquitous as telephone or email, rather than a service for a niche audience, such as youngsters, professionals, or music lovers. Facebook became the world's most popular by far social network because grandparents understood it and used it to over pictures of babies, as much as musicians used it to publicize gigs, or college kids used it to build connections with new friends they'd met on a night out. During its first decade, Facebook grew from a website accessible only by students at a handful of U.S. colleges to a network of 1.4 billion users. Along the road, it transformed socializing from something that's mostly done interpersonally between relatively small groups of people into something done electronically at a global scale. Controversy thrived almost from the start, though. That matter was eventually settled in court. And although the exact terms were not made public, it's been reported that Facebook paid claimants in the region of $65 million. However, the most recent controversies surrounding the company have stemmed from its enthusiastic, seemingly all-or-nothing bet on the much-hyped concept of the metaverse. So far, mere days after completing his acquisition of the platform, Musk has announced plans to sack nearly half of the workforce because of a massive drop in revenue. After all, radio, television, and newspapers all receive blame for causing their own share of societal ills during their heyday in the previous century, just as social media has done in this century. The fact is, though, that no one really knows what the metaverse will look like yet, and Meta's own offering doesn't align very well with those who advocate the vision of B3 as a decentralized, user-owned internet built on blockchain technology and freed from the centralized control of corporations like Meta or Google.